Mohammed Saleh is in the newsroom. Mohammed Saleh, what's the latest from your end?
Well, Eric, at this moment as we speak, there are reports of yet another, ballistic missile attack that the Iranians have in fact launched, targeting Tel Aviv and Haifa. Remember, this of course has come after the Israelis staged several high-profile attacks on Tehran, where, in Iran, the state broadcaster was also hit. Now, there are reports of missile launches combined with drones that are targeted towards Tel Aviv and Haifa. A new wave of Iranian missile attacks on the state of Israel has begun. These are reports by the Iranian state media. Remember, there are different varieties of missiles which the Iranians have used. There are missiles which can reach, once they are fired from Iran, to a city like Tel Aviv in a span of less than 300 seconds. That's pretty much the reaction time that the Israelis have once a missile is launched. And factor in that the Israelis will have to first detect that the missile launch has taken place and then subsequently take some action to see if they can shoot down that missile. But despite the very best air defense systems that the Israelis have at their disposal, which is to a very large extent, assisted by the Americans and also to a certain extent by the British and also by the Jordanians, who are very actively trying to shoot down the projectiles that are being shot from Iran. The fact is there are a number of missiles and drones that are making some pretty big strikes in Tel Aviv. If you look at the extent of damage that the state of Israel has suffered in the course of these last 4 days of fighting, this is unprecedented. Never in the history of the state of Israel, which has existed for the last 7 decades, has a city like Tel Aviv been hit this badly and this dramatically, despite the Iron Dome, the much taunted Iron Dome, and also the American air defense systems that are also at this moment trying to defend the state of Israel against the Iranian ballistic missile attacks. So these are some of the latest bit of information which has come in, Eric. The fact that this war is not going to come to an end anytime soon is pretty clear. And this is yet another round of ballistic missile strikes by the Iranians.
Well, Mohammed Saleh, it looks like an escalation because as it seems right now, it looks also like a retaliation because Israel claims that it was targeting their military installations in Iran, but they also went on to say that the Iranians targeted civilians or targeted their buildings or cities like Tel Aviv and Haifa. And now there's an attack that happened in Iran, which Israel orchestrated, and now Iran has done the same. It's actually warning news channels in Israel against an attack. This is sort of a retaliation, if you ask me.
That indeed is true, because if you remember, this is going to be a tit-for-tat nature of an attack on the third day of the hostilities, that is on Saturday evening, once the Iranians were also actively involved in shooting back their ballistic missiles. The Israelis did something dramatically different from what they had done on the first 2 nights. On Saturday night, the Israelis struck one of the Iranian oil and gas refineries, a very large one at that. And within a couple of hours, the Iranians hit back at the city of Haifa, which has Israel's largest oil and gas refinery. And now that today the Israelis have hit at the Iranian state media, you would obviously expect that the Iranians will respond in kind. Because remember, when Netanyahu started off with his Operation Rising Lion, probably he may not have factored in the capabilities of the Iranian missiles, because there is a lot of speculation within the Western media, within the Western military officials, where a lot of them are saying that, listen, Iranians may have about 2,000, maybe 3,000 of these ballistic missiles, and if Israel were to tide over that, then the Iranians may have nothing more left to fire, and it is then that the Israelis may unleash their attack. But the Iranians have rubbished these claims by these assertions by some of these Western military specialists, where they say that they've got many, many more missiles that they can actually fire at the state of Israel, and they're in for the long haul.
Mohammed Saleh and myself are keeping a close eye on what is really happening at this moment. Mohammed Saleh, will go back to you later.